All right, so happy Monday. It is May 21st, May 21st. So we are well on our way into the month. Couple announcements for today. Hopefully you've watched the morning national wake-up call. It was awesome. Danielle Natoni really hit it home with what she had to share. Things to know. So Danielle is saying 3-day refresh. May 29th to the 31st. Make sure you order it now so it comes in time so that you can start the 3-day refresh right after Memorial Day with the whole team. Tank tops. If you hit Success Club this month, Danielle is paying for your tank top. But if you are interested in one and you don't hit Success Club, you can also pay for one yourself. There is a coach sneak peek starting Wednesday. We're going to start the poll. And feel free to sign up for a video, same as we always do. Lift 4, Joel goes live in the Beachbody Champs page Wednesday. He'll be doing a training about his new program coming up. Next week, team call. Tuesday or Thursday, what would everyone prefer since Monday is a holiday? Whoop, whoop. There'll probably be a poll in the team page for that. Summit tickets are still on sale, so they're $100 off right now, and they will be that way until the 23rd, I believe, of this month. So make sure if you are on the fence about Summit, jump off the fence. Let us know what we need to do to push you right over that fence, girl, and we will push you because you are going to want to be at Summit. Things to know in terms of challenge packs coming up. To Be Mindset is still on sale through June 3rd when the app launches. So make sure you're plugging people into that. We have the hub going for that, separate from the main hub. So if you have any questions, let me know. More than happy to help with that. Lift 4 and Mes de Mas. I am not Spanish. Mes de Mas, both go. You can start taking pre-orders for the VIP access come June 11th. On July 16th, those programs both go live for people who have the VIP access on Beachbody On Demand. So it is a great way to get people plugged in early. Danielle has been talking a lot about using those launches of new programs to our advantages for our business. So make sure you are doing that. If people do not sign up for the VIP access, they're missing out on the exclusive coach test group, which if you are in the To Be Mindset one, if you are in the 80-day obsession one, you know how awesome those are to have the super trainer at your fingertips. So use that as encouragement for people to sign up as a coach, even if it's just a discount coach for those two programs. You'll get early access, you'll get exclusive test group. Otherwise, you have to wait until October when they launch for the company. So that is all I have. Now I will turn it over to Jaclyn. Woo, happy Monday.
Wait, but can you guys hear me for something I wanted to tell you?
Yes.
Wow. Thank you, Bree. Your show is on point. So I asked, maybe I'll like move. Does this help if I move closer to my speakers? I don't know. This is so weird. So I asked Jaclyn to speak on tonight because she's a fairly new coach and she's seeing great. Wait, you can hear me now? Oh, so weird. She's seeing great success. She hit Success Club last month. She's well on her way this month. She is almost at her first $500 mark, which is something I set with all of our new coaches. I'm super proud of her. But I wanted to give you guys this fun fact because I looked back through my messages when I first started talking to Jaclyn. And December 2015 is the first time I messaged her. She is a random friend on Facebook. She actually went to my middle school after I left there. So she's friends with like all my friends from elementary and middle school, and we didn't know each other. It's kind of weird. And in March 2016, so 4 months after I first messaged her, she never answered me, of course. She asked me about my posts, what I was sharing, and specifically about Beachbody. And I invited her to coach pretty much right off the bat. Now she'll tell you a little bit more about her story, guys, but she she didn't do it the first time around. She ended up quitting and she came back around a year later. So I just wanted to share that because I think it's important for you guys to understand that sometimes your journeys all look different. And that's why it's so important not to compare, especially when you hear what Jaclyn has to say, but know that you're going to get those people too. And so that's why it's so important that you do share. So I'm really excited for you guys to be here. Shout out to Bree for, I think is how I say it, Bree Walls. And Kelsey for being on here, first team call. I'm super proud of you guys. And Jaclyn, take it away, my friend.
Thank you. So we are totally on the same wavelength because I was literally going to start off by saying exactly what you just said. So we are on the same wavelength. But I think that's super important because so far I feel like I've gotten hung up on if I message people and I don't get a response or I get a short response from them, but then I have to remind myself, like, I totally ignored Danielle the first time she messaged me. Just didn't answer her. And it's true, people are always watching, and I was literally watching Danielle, and it took a couple months, but I reached out to her all because of just what she was sharing. So I really remind myself of that daily. So I think it's super, super important, both of those things. But like Danielle said, just to give you guys a little backstory on my story, I reached out to Danielle. I started with 21 Day Fix. I want to say that was like 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And I think I was like a week into it and I was like, this is awesome. Yes. Let me do the coaching thing. Absolutely. And then after 2 weeks in, I got engaged. And so I just went crazy celebrating. And so went totally off the wall, like meal plan wise, used every excuse to celebrate and whatnot. And then just like said to Danielle, like, this is too much. I'm too busy wedding planning and with my job and everything else to do coaching. And I pretty much didn't even give it a chance. I like said I would do it. And that quickly I said, nope, never mind. Sorry. And I didn't even like continue with like 21 Day Fix really. I just completely stopped like everything until about, I guess a year later, like last spring. And again, I remind myself of this often too. I signed up with Beachbody On Demand on my own. For some reason, I still didn't even reach out to Danielle again. Thanks for still being friends with me. So I did it on my own. And then somehow was talking to Danielle one day shortly after that. And she was like, girl, that doesn't make any sense because you could have done the challenge pack and whatnot. So that's kind of how I got back into, she helped me cancel my subscription, get a new one, Shakeology, the whole bit. And I started kind of actually doing the accountability groups. But when I say doing the accountability groups, I was in them. That's pretty much it. I didn't really participate. I didn't do much more than that. At that time, though, I think that's what I needed, was just to be a part of a group, because I was getting ready for my wedding. That was in the fall. So for me, that's kind of just all I needed at that time. Fast forward to after my wedding, I lost some weight before my wedding, and then on my honeymoon in 2 weeks, I put all of it back on and could not lose it. And that luckily is when 80 Day Obsession was coming out, and I said to Danielle, like, I'm going to go all in this time, like all in, everything, the group, performance line, Shakeology, everything. And here we are today, because that was probably one of the best decisions I ever made, was to go all in and really participate in the accountability groups, because after I started to do that, I realized I'm kind of already coaching in a way. And so I don't know why I gave up on this so quickly before, because it's just really rewarding. So that's kind of my backstory. But kind of something I think about often, just because I think my first month coaching now, I would get hung up on all those little things that I just mentioned, but then I remind myself that's kind of where I started. And here we are. So I kind of made a couple notes so that I don't ramble, but if you guys want to stop me. So the one thing I wanted to talk about is fitting coaching in and hitting Success Club and things like that while you're super busy, because I know we're all super busy in our own life, and that's probably the number one thing that we hear from other people, is that they're too busy or they're so busy and yada yada yada. But I somehow make it work, and I'm even busier now than I was when I first started with Danielle and quit, so riddle me that one. But I'm also learning how to, like Danielle said again, not compare myself to other coaches and kind of do my own thing, because my life or my day is so all over the place all the time, and no one day looks the same for me. It's hard for me to kind of plan things out, other than my workout, which is probably the most consistent thing in my day. I kind of do my reaching out and my posting and my sharing whenever I have time. So if I have 5 minutes sitting at my desk in the morning, that's when I do it. If I have 5 minutes before I go to bed that night, that's when I do it. So it's absolutely possible, no matter how busy you are, in just finding that time and adding in however it works for you. And I think that's one thing that I'm just starting to be okay with, is that just doing things in what works for me, because that's something that I've struggled with for the last couple of months, and I feel like I'm finally there with that. So that's one thing I feel like I can't stress enough, is just figuring out how to make it work in your life and not necessarily comparing it to somebody else's. Let's see. And the other thing, so this is something that I've talked to a couple people about recently, is kind of stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I feel like the reason why I was able to actually hit Success Club last month, and the reason why I'm so super close and will hit it this month, is that I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, even though it's absolutely terrifying. So even right now, talking to you guys is terrifying for me because it's out of my comfort zone, but I'm doing it. So the things that I feel like I've posted, I've been terrified to even share, or reaching out to people. Sometimes starting those conversations, depending on the person and whatnot, has been terrifying because it's new and it's out of my comfort zone. But there are those people who don't answer, like I did. But there are those people that do answer, and it's extremely rewarding when they do, because I mean, I'll use Bria as an example because you're on here. Like, we have not talked in years. We used to work together. We have not talked in years. But reaching out to her was great because we are reconnecting a friendship, which I think is awesome, which I've done with a couple other of my challengers. And I just think that Bree brings a lot to this already, and I think she's going to rock this coaching thing. So like, I just think for all those people that don't answer, you have people that do, and that's extremely awesome. And I've had people that I haven't reached out to at all that have messaged me and just either been really positive or asked me about what I'm doing and are interested. So trying to focus on those things and realizing that putting yourself out of your comfort zone, if you have one person reach back out to you because of that, then I say that it's worth it, because sometimes that's all other people need. Yeah, right. Rita's the one thing that brings us together. And I totally agree with that, Danielle. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So, I mean, absolutely. And other people are definitely, they are watching all the time. And I know Danielle says this all the time, but I feel like every day I believe it more and more. And I kind of remind myself of that more and more. And even I feel like a lot of my conversations with people might not even start off with getting them interested in Beachbody, but kind of reconnecting those friendships, and building like a positive conversation. So I would say that I have a handful of people right now that we haven't even discussed Beachbody at all, or they're doing their own fitness and nutrition thing, but we've kind of started to rebuild some kind of a relationship and a friendship. And I think that in the long run, that probably, and if they don't, end up joining, then that's fine. I've, incorporated more positive people into my life. And if they are interested down the road, then I've already built that friendship and that trust with them again. So that's another thing that I think is super, super important when you're talking to people, realizing that it doesn't always have to go right to that, because it eventually could lead to that. I feel like there's one more thing that I didn't write down that I wanted to talk about. Does anybody have any questions, or Danielle, is there anything that you think I missed so far?
Well, y'all can write in the chat. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Liz says no.
No?
That's me. I think that it would be awesome for you to share your fitness is the reason that you took this business seriously, right? Because you made a decision to put that first and see results there. But you also didn't wait till you were at a perfect place with your fitness or your body or whatever, because I think that's also something that a lot of new coaches struggle with, is thinking you have to be the epitome of a beach body. And maybe you can share a little bit what we talked about when Carl was like, you know, do you make better choices and are you more consistent and that type of thing. That's what Beachbody is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I will say that when Danielle and I talked about me starting to coach again, I was a little hesitant because I still had that mindset. Like, I'm not at an ideal place to do that. And I remember, like, when I was talking to Danielle about it and doing my like coming out post, everything, I literally was like shaking. I was like, no, I'm not ready for this. No, I'm gonna quit again. Like, no. But I think, first of all, there's no ideal whatever you have in your mind anyway. But we're always saying it's about the journey, and I think that that's what is relatable to other people too. So it doesn't matter where you are in your journey, but just using that and sharing your journey, and not always putting on like, you know, that you're in this perfect place and whatnot. And I don't really think anybody would relate. You wouldn't have very many people relate to that anyway. So I think that it's always a good time to kind of jump in and go off for it. And I will say, I feel like starting coaching is even held me even more accountable than I felt like I was before. Just having other people on your team and other people that are looking to you for things, and sharing even more online and things like that. I feel like it helps you stay more accountable too, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about posting, because that was also one of your biggest like things you were scared to do.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the first post you did and why did you do it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Do you know which one it was?
No.
I do.
Was it the gym one? Wait.
You put up your transformation, I think. Maybe that was your second one. But that was the one that, but what happened at your transformation when you posted it?
Like response wise?
Yeah, because you were scared as heck to post it, right?
Oh, terrified. I even think I was like texting Jill that night too, and I was like freaking out, and I was like, no, and Jill didn't even know what was going on at that point. She's like, whatever, I support you. But and Danielle was like, just put your phone down, like don't even look at it, just let it be. And I had like probably 10 or so messages from people like within the hour, just like, you know, reaching out and just positive vibes and you know, really great stuff. And it made me like, again, goes back to that, like, you might be terrified stepping out of your comfort zone, but it was so worth it to kind of get that kind of positivity back and to have people interested in like actually asking questions. But after that, I absolutely struggled with posting, figuring out what to post and when to post and what to say. And I'll be honest, there's still some days that it's like a struggle for me, because we're all human. But I feel like the more I've thought about it, and the more I kind of thought about me and my journey and kind of what I want to share with people, the easier it became. And to be honest, now I kind of, if I think of something during the week, I jot it down. And if I have something great, I make a draft of it on Instagram. So it's easier for me during my busy day to just post it, because that's what works for me. But I think that that's something that, in talking to other people, that is sometimes a struggle, knowing like what to post and then how to reach out to people after you post. And I say, let's talk about it, because I feel like talking about it with Danielle was super helpful. And again, it's hard not to compare yourself to other people when you're thinking about that kind of stuff. But I think talking it out with, other people on the team, and then figuring out what it is you want to share and the kind of people that you want to connect with. And then going from there and kind of keeping a running list of things, I think that at least made a big difference for me. So I feel like it's a good place to start.
Yeah, and getting ideas from your personal development, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, pick up a book and start highlighting, because there's good content in here. You don't need to like figure it out yourself. This is where most of us get our content from. And that's why you can tell the people that are on this team sharing every day, I guarantee you they pick up a book. And I'm a big believer in audio, but I think there's also something to spending 5 to 10 minutes a day reading something that speaks to you.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, why don't you talk a little bit about making this transition, because you have pretty fast, into having coaches on your team that want to run this?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to have you lovely ladies like with me already, but I'm happy that you are. And that's not necessarily an expectation I had right off the bat. Having coaches of my own. But I think it goes back to, what you're posting and what you're sharing and the kind of people you're attracting. And I think based on like what, excuse me, kind of what I've been sharing and the honesty behind it, I guess, I've been able to reconnect with certain people and attract certain people that are similar to me and that kind of want to get going pretty soon after, just like I did, which I think is awesome. And you two ladies, Jill and Bree, you guys are gonna kick ass. So.
Well, and I think there's a couple things you did, Jack, right? You got yourself to a live Beachbody event pretty fast.
True.
So the next one coming up is either Summit or Super Saturday in July. So everybody on this call should be going to one or both of those, because it changes the game for you. Because what happened is Jaclyn brought Jillian to that event and she became a coach that week, pretty much. She didn't have a choice. And like Kelsey hung out with us this weekend and she pretty much didn't have a choice of coaching. So it's like, it makes this real for you. It makes it bigger than just sitting on a screen on a Monday night. And even if you don't know anybody in your area, guys, I went to Super Saturdays by myself for almost 3 years. So there is like zero excuse to not go to your local events every quarter.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing you did is you got on live workouts every day. And you got to know the people in our accountability group. And so talk about how you made that transition, because I think it's important for you guys to understand that she started as a challenger and she became a coach, and then she helped her challengers and they became a coach. That's all this business is. It's helping people get results and helping them start to believe in themselves enough to share it. So you want to talk a little bit about that, Jack? How in your first time you were a challenger, you touched a little bit on it, but why was this time different?
So I definitely feel like this time, so like since January, has been so different because I've plugged into the community and actually took the time to learn what this community is all about, and see what this community and this team specifically has to offer, which made me, I did live workouts again, stepping out of my comfort zone in the beginning, but I literally don't think I get mad if I don't have my laptop, because then I have to choose between a live workout or music on my phone. And I always go with the live workout, because if I didn't have everybody, my morning would get thrown off. But, doing that and actually taking the time to participate in our group and support everybody and ask for help when needed and receive support, is what I think helped me transition from a challenger to a coach, and it actually sticking this time. And I think getting my own challengers, then that's something I stress. And even in my posts, I just stress this community and how important it is. And anybody that I sign up as a challenger, that's one of my main things is, you really can get so much more out of this if you plug into this team. And I think that's why I've been able to have people go from challengers to coaches so quickly as well, just because it's so powerful. And just making sure that they know that too. And I think they've realized that on their own, and that's why they're just so wanting to get back and get more people involved in our team, because the power of this community and the power of this team is awesome. And I think that if I would have plugged into it 2 years ago and realized that, I probably wouldn't have quit. But everything happens for a reason. So.
All right, I'm going to unmute Amanda. She said she has a comment. Can I unmute you?
Hey, so for some of the people, how are you? I know I'm driving and I'm doing this at the same time. Sorry. Anyway, so some of the people that I've actually tried to talk to about this, they were just like, yeah, this is fake bullshit. I'm like, no, and actually, we actually support everybody. And I think trying to spread the message across, say this is really a positive community. We want to see you success. We want to see you succeed, do everything that you want to do. And so people just, it doesn't click with that. And it's very frustrating, you know what I mean? And I can help other people achieve more goals if they're so against it. You can't achieve your goals by yourself. You need a tribe. That's what I keep trying to tell them.
So Jaclyn, you want to speak on how, I think for some of the coaches on this team, it's starting to share your own story, right? Mm-hmm. And that takes time, but it also just takes putting yourself out there. And so you have to have that behind the scene conversation and that public showing. You want to talk about that, Jaclyn, a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, one, there are always going to be people that are resistant to it, and that just is the way it is. But I feel like the reason why, I agreed to coaching, I don't know, the end of January, beginning of February. And then I didn't hit Success Club right away. I didn't really sign many people other than my husband, sign people up right away. And it took a while, and I think it was that consistency in posting and being honest and sharing my story consistently. I think that showed people that it is real, and I think shouting out our team, so not just saying that I have this great team, but look at my team, look at the great things that they're doing. I think doing that makes a huge difference. And also I found that if there are people who are resistant to it, one, I think about it, okay, well, are they somebody I want on my team if that's how negative that they are, kind of? Or two, do they just not see it yet? And maybe they need to be added to our sneak peek that we have, or maybe you just need to build a little bit more of that relationship and not necessarily talk about the health and fitness stuff. And I mean, everybody's totally different. That's kind of, I've run into all those situations, I feel like, with different people. But I absolutely think the being consistent and sharing and being, honest with things I think goes a long way, because I think then people start to realize like, oh, this is legit, and it's not just, blowing smoke.
And I think like you guys can use all of us as your team. You don't have to wait for challengers to say you have a team. Go for it, Liz. I know she's
Sorry,
done.
the volume. I don't know. Maybe it's me. The volume's like really weird today, so I can hear some people super loud and some people not at all. I just wanted to say two things about the community piece. First is that, like exactly what Danielle was going to say, like use us as your team and as your community. And like, if you haven't been to an event yet, use these calls and use the hub as, spending time with your team and how you interact with that. And I'm working with a girl right now, and I won't go into this whole story, but she basically is signed up with another coach and wants to change to our team, because the girl who she signed up with, okay, you guys, when I say she has a beautiful Instagram, let me tell you, her Instagram is beautiful. This girl I know who reached out to me, she's lost like 15 pounds. And the girl who's her coach doesn't even know her name. Like literally does not know her, doesn't know how much weight she's lost, like nothing. And so she's like, I got to get out of here. Like, this is not what I was expecting. And so like the realness that is our hub and our community right now is not what everyone has. And it's not the experience everyone has. And it takes work to build that. But like the more we put ourselves out there in the hub and the more that we participate, like that's what people are attracted to. And that's what's going to help us grow a huge ass team for life. Not just people who like wanted a quick fix. And those aren't our people, right? So like I encourage you to share the heck out of that, because it doesn't matter if your Instagram is beautiful. Like it doesn't matter any of that superficial stuff, because when people get into our team, they are going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I never had this, right? That's just like what we all did. And I want them to have that experience versus like finding someone who has a beautiful Instagram who doesn't know their name, because that sucks. And like I hate that people are like that, but I just like encourage you to don't worry about how pretty your pictures are, and don't worry about getting the perfect post. Like be real, be honest, share the heck out of our team, and like that's what people want. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, something's weird with my sound too. I don't know. Hopefully the recording goes well, because this is really good stuff. Okay, new coaches, what do you guys want to know from Jaclyn? Like real talk, what is the one thing that like you're most scared about or you don't know about? You can totally just type it if you want, or you can unmute yourself. I love that, Katie. Looks like Bree's typing. She has a list. I love it. Or if anybody else wants to add anything in, it's just we're putting Jaclyn on the hot spot.
Jack, what keeps you going on the days that you don't want to work your business?
This team, honestly. I feel like looking at, something else you guys post, anybody on our team really, definitely keeps me going. Looking in the hub definitely keeps me going. And I'll say when I started, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit. When I started to do this, I got a little pushback from my family. My mom didn't quite understand it. My dad really didn't understand it. And he did not hold back telling me that. My husband was like cool, but not all for it. And so that was a little challenging at first. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm making a good choice or if I should be doing this. And then when I decided to do coaching, I think they really truly didn't understand it, especially my husband was like, what are you doing? And what is this? And so I feel like on days like that, specifically, I looked at our team. Like I went to the hub and like either posted something or just read things that people were posting. And that kind of kept me like on track and like, yes, this is what I want to be doing. And now like I just was with my husband, and because I'm not with my husband, fun fact, I'm house sitting this week, so I'm alone. So I was with him and my parents yesterday for dinner, and all of them were like, "You're doing such a great job. I'm so," like, they still really don't even know what this is, but that's fine. They don't need to. But they're like, "I'm just so proud of you. Like, you're doing a great job. Like, I can tell that it's making a difference, like, with your, like, mindset and, like, just, like, the way you are lately," which is good to see that they've kind of moved past that point. But I feel like, yes, there are definitely some days where, like, it's just hard to, like I can't. But I feel like this team, because I feel like our team is unique and special. So I feel like whenever, because I'm sure we all have those moments where, like, no matter what it is, whether it's family or work or friends or whatever, where, like, it's just hard to do this that day, I think plugging into this team makes a huge difference for me. That was a great question.
Bree asked, do you guys follow other coaches? Do you recommend following other coaches not on the team? What's your stance on that, Jaclyn?
So I will say that I used to, until probably, like, I don't know, like a month ago or so. And I think they were people I was following before I even started 80 Day. Like, I don't know why or how I found them. But I have since stopped doing that because I don't think that it's helpful to, like, at first, like, I kind of looked at theirs when I started coaching again. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. But then I found more, I was, like, comparing myself to them. And that's, I mean, we kind of already talked about that. There's really no point in doing that. And so I would say that I am not all for that. I think I follow a pretty decent amount of coaches on our team, but definitely not everybody. I don't think we all follow each other, which I think is totally okay. Does that answer?
Here's a quick tip, guys. You can make a Facebook list. So you should all friend each other, of course, but you can make a Facebook list. Google how to do it, your friend, of all the people on our team, and use that as a source of, like, inspiration, or just if you want to have one day a week you go support the other coaches on our team, because I think that that's important. Do that. But as a new coach, I get it. Ask your coach maybe one or two people you can look up to and follow for about a month. But after that, you want to do you want to do your story your way. And I think there's something really magical when you use your books and your inspiration and your workout as your voice, because it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to watch Amy Silverman's baby announcement and then her dog, and then, oh my gosh, I'm going to watch her stories. And, like, before you know it, you wasted an hour that you could have been talking to somebody else and changing their life. So that is always my stance. And I've had to have many conversations with a few of you, like, literally pull out your phone and I'm unfollowing every coach on your phone, because it's, when it comes down to it, it's taking away your freedom that you're building. And you don't need to know about Brianna's dog's poop on her, like, we love Bentley, but it's a rabbit hole. So that's always my piece of advice. What else? What other questions do you guys have? Kelsey, you got anything? Bentley's goose. I know. I was just, like, making, that was just the first thing that came to mind because the dog was on here. My bad. But, like, my biggest pet peeve is when I see one of you watch my story, like, 2 seconds after I post it. And I'm like, y'all, like, no, you don't need to see what I'm doing, because just be you and be your own self. But I get, like, wanting to have inspiration and understanding that. And then also, Brie, like, if it's social media related, on my YouTube channel is every team call we've done over the past 3 years. So you can get on there and search social media or Instagram or whatever if you want to learn more about that. And that can be your place to plug into and learn how to do it. And it doesn't have to be our team calls. It can be from anybody. What types of posts do you guys make a list for every week, or do you just post what's relevant? And then we'll go to Kelsey's. Jaclyn. So like, do you make your posts ahead of time or do you write them in the moment? I think
I kind of do both. I kind of have, like I said, I'll sometimes make some or have like topics or ideas like there. But then sometimes, like, you know, if I just have something, I share that. Like, for example, I had something completely different planned that I wrote out last night for today. And then I woke up this morning and got dressed and like saw my tank top that I put on and like game changer, like just went with whatever I was thinking. So I definitely do like a mix of it. I think it's good to have it like ideas. And I know I talked to Danielle about this when I was like first like struggling with it. Like having a list, having like some topics or things that are specific to you. But then sometimes the mood just strikes you and you got something good.
Hey, can I add something to that? So I struggled really bad when I started coaching about what to post and whatnot. And it really took a while for it to click for me. There are different images out there that will give you like posting ideas for every day and whatnot. And there's a ton of great resources like that. But sometimes your heart's just not in it. And if your heart's not in it and you're posting about it, people are going to see that. You know, part of what's attracted us to our coaches, you know, our upline is because what they were sharing about was genuine and it attracted us. And something that actually Jaclyn and Jillian and I heard at Super Sunday in DC, the last one we went to, was one of the coaches that spoke said, talk like you're talking to yourself. Like, what did you need to hear? And that's how I've treated my posts is, you know, if it's a reoccurring conversation that I'm having with other people, or if it's just what I'm feeling in the moment and what I need to hear from a personal development standpoint, I'm just throwing it out to the universe and that becomes my post topic.
Did you see what Kelsey said? She said, how do you narrow down what you want to post in that day when you have so much to say? And so she hasn't really made her first new coach post. So maybe you can speak to that a little bit. So she probably has a lot of ideas going on in her head right now.
Yeah. I'll tell you, so when I have like just so many thoughts, I literally just type them all out in notes. And then I kind of let it sit and then I go back to it, because I don't want to be like word vomiting everywhere, but like, you know, you want to make sure it's honest and genuine and you and exactly what you want to be sharing. So when I feel like I have a lot to say, that's what I do. I kind of just type it all out and then I go back through it and like, is this the point that I want to make? Is this what I want to share? Is this how I'm feeling, kind of thing? And go with that. I'll say for my first post, I had like 1,000,001 ideas, terrified to post them all, but like 1,000,001 ideas. But I kind of thought about why this team was different and why it was making a difference for me. And for me, that's because I would join a gym every couple months and end up quitting because I don't like the gym. And I like that support system. I like doing things and reaching goals with other people. And you don't necessarily always have that when you go to the gym. So for me, that's why that never worked in my fitness journey. And then that's why this team has made it stick this time. So that's what was my main big post about, because I kind of thought about what I want other people to know about this team and this journey. And I did exactly that with that post. I kind of wrote it all in my notes and went through it and read it, like put it to the side and then went back to it. But I'd say also don't think too much about it, because if it's what you want to say, then you don't want it to sound like fake. I don't know if that makes sense, like mixing the two together. I don't know, I hope that answers your question and I didn't ramble.
I think it always goes back to like, you guys shouldn't spend more than like 5 minutes on a post, because that's like one aspect of what you need to do. So done is better than perfect. And like, obviously your first one, you know, you want it to be meaningful and work with your coach on that. But also plug into your message pods and ask for help, because that's every single one of them. You've heard them say like their first post was scary too, but you got to just get it done and put yourself out there. And that's what people are going to relate to. But you shouldn't be spending an hour. Like, I cringe when some of my coaches have been like, I spent an hour on this. I'm like, why? Nobody's going to spend an hour reading your post. And the more time you think about it, the more anxiety you build up in yourself. And the person that is reading that is so much more scared than you are to post it. So you guys have the community, they don't. And your post is just going to be the connecting glue that's going to bring them to you. But once you put up that first post, you have to show up every day, like Jaclyn said, because that's how you build trust. Like, who on this team has ever seen me skip a day of posting? And it's not to be cocky, but I'm just telling y'all the way to success: consistency. Anything else, guys? This is helpful. Well, I think you did awesome, Jack. We're going to continue to bring more of you guys on here, because you guys are crushing goals. Make me pay for your team tank top this month. Seriously, everybody on this page can help 3 people this month. There is like no excuse. There's still 10 days left. Do it before Memorial Day so you can enjoy the holiday. Seriously. And like Bree said, we have a lot of stuff coming up, but just plug in to the team, guys. Keep asking for help. There was one thing I was going to say. Oh yeah, the team call next week, since it's Monday on Memorial Day, we will not have a call on Monday. But if you guys can answer the poll on the team page, if Tuesday or Thursday night works better for you, one of my coaches who's a dietitian is going to come on and speak to you guys about all different products that Beachbody has to offer, so that you can better serve your challengers and the people that you want to help. So I'm really pumped about this. I think it'll give you guys some good ammo to say like, no, this is what I really recommend for you. So I really want to have a team call next week to make it happen. But okay, sounds good, Liz. Thank you guys for being here. If you haven't already, get out your phone and take a picture of your screen, because you showed up on the team call up tonight. And if you need your friend to send you the picture, do it, because you're on your phone, we can do that. But our job is social media, and this is how you show the community, guys. So everybody smile. Smile, smile, smile. All right. I love you guys. Go make yourself proud this week, and I am always here to help. All right. I'll see you guys next week.